Hello?
What's up, girl? What happened after Tony dumped you?
Girl, I'm over it. I went from heartbreak to hate.
Hi, Bob. See, I was trying to wait because I know you like to go first.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
It's I don't want to say it's my white privilege, but it's
I
my
like
internal privilege.
I like the way you're tying it in.
Yes, absolutely.
I love when you tie things together when it gets it to be a cohesive theme.
But I do wear zip-up shoes just because I hate tying, just so everyone knows.
I haven't seen zip-up shoes in real life in years.
Oh, you mean like real zip-up shoes?
Yeah.
I mean, all my shoes are like fake laced up and then zip up the side, like my boots and stuff like that.
I got you.
It's those you want the style, but you ain't got time, girl.
You ain't got time. I hear you. Listen, I'm not opposed to it. My boots are like that. My snow boots.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think a lot of things are like that now. It's just it has to be, right? It's convenience. One thing has to give. Either you have time to tie your laces, or you have time to get coffee in the morning.
Hey, hard choices.
And now your topic.
Yes, I was like the way it's all just flowing together. So I had this topic be this idea this morning that occurred to me, which was like, why is it that in order to propel one idea, you know what I mean, we have to demonize another? Like, why does everything have to be such a polar opposite? And when I was talking to you, I was saying, my examples are, like, as we move forward with, feminism and, really kind of making sure all minorities have rights and are understood, we have to demonize all white men.
Right.
Like, there's been white men who have, used their privilege for evil and, cause a lot of problems, but it's like we would get upset if somebody was like, oh, that one black person,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, bumped into me, ran my shoe over, and now I hate all black people. But I feel that we do it with white men. And there's other instances. I was saying, we kind of do it, in the like LGBTQ community versus, heterosexuals. Like, there's lots of instances where in order to propel one idea and kind of give those people who have been underrepresented a voice, we have to demonize the opposite. And I'm just like, does it gotta be all that?
I mean, it doesn't have to be. And no, I agree with you completely. Like I said, if every white man was as evil as the epitome or the thought of how a white man with privilege who takes advantage of other marginalized people, if every white man did that, there would be no other marginalized people.
Right, because they could have taken it to the extreme and really just, yeah.
So we have to admit that statistically, there are better people out there.
Right.
There are all kinds of straight white men who aren't horrible human beings. I know a lot of them. And maybe that's my bubble, but I find that,
I don't think it's just you. I think most people, and there's going to be people who are going to say, well, not in my world, but
Right.
I think most people, if you really look and are willing to put down your bias for a while, could say that you can find one or two people. You go to work, you go outside every day,
Yeah.
you go to the stores and things, you've seen people of all kinds
Right.
who are able to do good and people of all kinds who are able to do bad. So it's like,
Right.
It's not like you're not familiar with it. It's just that when we get laser focused on our viewpoint, we throw all that conveniently underneath the rug and we're like, doesn't exist.
Well, it's kind of like the thought of poverty. As long as somebody is poorer than me, I'm not the poorest person, therefore I'm not poor.
Yeah.
There's that mentality that people have. So she's poor because she's dirty. I'm not dirty, but even though we have the same amount of money in the bank, there's somebody worse off than me. So that person is that person. So it's kind of like that. As long as there's someone worse than me as a person, I can still be a horrible person, but they're still straight white men.
Yeah, and I think the problem is that when you, I will also acknowledge, side note, that part of why it feels this way is because whatever is going on in the media and whatever is going on TV feels like the one thing.
Right.
And more nuanced than just what we see in the media and on
There's not
TV.
just black and whites.
But you know what I mean? I think that it can unfortunately it can kind of bolster people to like have this viewpoint of screw that group of people because they're the worst. You know what I mean? And I have like a good example. Let's say the idea of chivalry is dead, right? I was with someone, we were in a store. I'm glad I just kept all that to myself. I was about to give more details and reveal the guilty. We were in a store, me and this person, and somebody held the door for us, and the person was like, oh, chivalry is not dead. And all I thought to myself was, people hold the door for me all the time.
Right.
And I'm always quick to say thank you because I want that person to keep doing that. Yeah. Like, thank you. That was, you didn't have to, but that was just basic good home training. You know what I mean? So it's like that. It's like, I want us to acknowledge that, yes, there have been, bad straight people who didn't want gay people to have rights. But there are a lot of good, rights still are, you know what I mean? But there are good ones too. There are a lot of allies. There are a lot of people who fight and who know what's right. Like any topic.
Well, I think the problem is, and I'm not going to get into that problem, but I'll say the problem is that people have a high level of the very high level cliff notes, if you will, not even cliff notes, like cliff notes of their religion. And so they get told things are bad without thinking like, oh yeah, like eating shellfish used to be bad, but we all do that today.
Right.
Like, without having that kind of, I don't know, cognizance of the situation, people are just like, oh, that's bad, sorry, and some people are still holding on to that, slavery thing. You are out there, Brenda, I know you, I see you. But yeah, just, people still have those notions of someone told me this was bad, so therefore it is bad. I've never met a gay person in my life, and I still stand by the fact that there are lots of white people who have never actually had a personal conversation with any person of color, even though I hate that term, any other race, but they will say, my grandma, she got rear-ended by this black woman one time, and the woman got out and cussed her out, and so now my entire generation and all the generations in my family to come will hate black people because this one black woman did this one bad thing this one time in the 60s. So, and I personally believe that is how a lot of racism happens from states where that's not born.
But it's not even just racism. It's also, you just gave me a good reason and understanding of why we are this way with whatever topic. It's because we live in these isolated communities. All of us do it in big cities. Big cities are more segregated than other places, than, a lot of places. And even if it's not a truly segregated city or whatever that you live in, we all build these communities with like-minded people.
Exactly.
So then you never have to bend your brain. You never have to truly think for yourself. You can just roll with whatever idea you've been holding on to since you were 5 and you heard a parent say it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is your boogeyman, your, what would you call it? It's just essentially the boogeyman. It's just making up a myth about, I mean, it may have happened, there may have been some truth in it, but, not every person is that person. Not every single person is going to treat you the same way. You should know that by kindergarten. Somebody's going to share their snack pack with you. Someone ain't going to share their snack pack with you. Why do you need to borrow someone's snack pack? I don't know. Get your own damn snack pack.
I'm going to take it further and say, just because you ran into 10 insert race person here, people who did XYZ thing, you didn't meet everybody in that race. You didn't even meet a good sampling.
No.
Okay? It's like, well, I've had this occurrence and it's happened 10 different times. Are you kidding me? Like, that's what you're going to base something off of?
Right.
No.
No,
ma'am. No, sir.
Law of averages. If you've ran into 10 black people, you had 10 bad experiences with 10 black people, I think there's more than 10 black people out there.
Right. So go meet another 50 more, at least.
I mean, get 100. Then you could be like, it's a 10% situation, right?
Yes.
But you know what? Really, honestly, though, a big percentage of people are just shit to begin with.
We have.
my personal opinion is I hate somebody from every race possible. So why could I possibly be racist for just one race?
No, you want more options.
I want more options.
Of course.
And I don't hate the entire race because of that one person.
Right.
Adrian Ark, I'm talking about you, third grade.
Oh, okay.
I don't hate every black woman ever because some black woman beat up my ass when I was in third grade and she was in sixth grade. We're not going to get into it. We're not going to get into it. We're not going to get into it. Busted every blood vessel in my eyes.
Okay.
Not going to get into it. Only fight I've ever lost. Not going to get into it.
Okay.
But
All right.
in third grade, I could have decided at that point every black woman's a horrible human being.
Right.
And where would I be in my friendship pool today?
Ooh.
I'd be cleared out.
That'd be a dark and lonely place.
Because honestly, black women are probably a big section of my friendship pool. Mm-hmm. So I would.
We're just trying to come in and undo the damage that Adrian did.
Oh yeah. Actually, yeah. Her name is more complicated to pronounce. I say Adrian, but it was more complicated to pronounce, so I'm not even getting into that.
Oh, good. Then we're even protecting the guilty.
Even though I gave out her last name. Anyway.
Whatever. Ain't nobody gonna fire her.
She died in a goddamn house fire. That's my dream for her. Anyway.
My dream. Wow. Okay.
Oh. Anyway, so yeah, there's a life lesson. I could have easily just said hands down, done. Third grade. I lived in Kentucky. I knew racist people then, but no, I actually hung out with more black people after that point.
Yeah.
Because more black people were like, that's bullshit. She's in sixth grade. You're in third grade. She's beating the hell out of you. That's not even fair. She's going through puberty. Like,
Right. I like it. And so, like, proving my extension point, which is that you were able to change your mind, able to, like, have an idea at one point and then change it in the future, because I feel that we're in that place right now specifically in the idea of pronouns and gender.
Right.
I'm not an expert, kids, but I do try to learn, okay? And so if I get something wrong, don't crucify me, but I'm doing my best. But I think that's, like, the thing. Like, when people first started using the term cis, like, I think it started there, at least the way I learned about it, right?
Right.
Like 5 years ago or whatever, we first started talking about it. I'm sure it's older than that, but nonetheless, at the time I remember saying something flippant like, I'm too old and I don't have time to learn all these new things. I don't care what the kids are out here doing.
Mid-30s.
I was like, I know, and but I still felt like I was an old. I was like, I can't even. When I was 7, I thought I was 25.
Right,
I know. So really, in my spiritual years,
oh yeah,
I'm like
we're in our
62.
80s. We're actually old bitches talking. We're old white women, in fact.
We are. So I was like, I ain't got time to be learning. But today, my viewpoint is different, and I've been to meetings and classes and things where people start off saying, okay, let's introduce ourselves, say your name, and if you like, say your preferred pronouns and things. And it's still a little unusual is the word, because it's not been such a common practice. It's been in the last few months, but it's not like a crazy idea to me anymore, and it's not disturbing.
It's because you're in academia world now.
That's true.
When you're in the university world, that those thoughts that you have, I mean, it's kind of like being at a university in a way. You get enlightened to things because you were like, why would I do that? Like, I thought the same thing. Like, when I first started at one of my jobs in university, there was a girl who was a cis woman, and she on her email would say her pronouns. My pronouns are her, she, hers. Right. So but her name was Jasmine. So I was like, why does she need to put that on her email? Like, her name is Jasmine. People would know that she's a female just based by her name. But that is not correct.
Correct.
Because she could be trans, male to female, therefore using pronouns, and she might be using they and them as a pronoun. So, not correct.
Yeah. Or she might not even identify with male or female gender specifically.
Correct.
She
Yes.
could, you know what I mean? So that's the thing. It's just learning about things that have always probably been there, but we're just now in a place where people can talk about it and be free enough. And I was going to say, I know what so I've listened to people because Kim kids in my incognita status.
She
Not only
loves that
that, but
word.
also in my, I really do, but also just because, you know, I present so clearly as like a straight female. It looks like I use she, her, hers, all of the things, like the things that people will say to me, like not knowing who I affiliate with in the things, like I hear all kinds of things. So one of the arguments that I did hear recently, about having to learn to use other pronouns and should people even be allowed to share them in a business setting because they felt that it wasn't appropriate is, you know, it's like, well, one of the difficult things is, you know, if this person looks male, automatically your brain goes to he, him, his, right? And it's, you know, I'm just too old. It's not in a place where my brain can calculate, oh, it has to be they, because they has always been associated as multiple people.
Right,
So
I
that
had that
kind of doesn't
conversation
make
recently.
sense.
Yeah.
Like there's those multiple aspects, which to me is another, like I said, it's another aspect of I'm too old to do it, which I can comprehend because, like I said, I admit that I was at that place at one time. And I think that part of it is us just being able to continually be exposed to things and truly learn and just have that spirit of wanting to understand other people. Like that, I think helps.
Yeah, I think it's weird that you brought up the how someone presents. You know, they look male. Because for a long time in my life, I would have people ask me or ask if I was male or female. Not being trans, I mean just being and all the terms didn't exist, like gender fluidity, you know, gender queer. None of those terms existed in these days. These were in the 80s and in the 90s. I just looked more feminine in my facial features.
Okay.
And so people, you know, and I was never like 100% hardcore dressed like a man, I guess. I don't know what it was, but people would ask my friends if I was a boy or a girl. Are they a boy or a girl? And then that was the horrible, and this is one of the reasons why I hate that word and that name. One of the worst parts was people called me Bobby, which was a non-gender specific name growing up, because I knew female Bobbies, I knew male Bobbies.
Right.
That's one reason why I hate when people call me that, because it just drives me crazy. Now my name still, the way it's spelled, is not necessarily gender specific.
Right.
In fact, I could not even be a white person to some people.
Right.
Some people have been shocked to find out that I'm white. When they, you know, read emails from me and then see me in person, they're like, "Oh, I thought you were not going to be a white guy." So,
Right.
like, it's very. I don't know. I struggled with that as a kid. And like I said, I'm a cis straight. Not cis straight man. I'm a cis gay man.
Right.
Which I'm trying because you know, my thing with cis is you don't need to have it if you have trans.
Right.
But I understand the need for it too. Everyone needs 5 more descriptors. So you got to have all the descriptors, and it sounds more horrible when you say that cis straight white man, right? Because you know.
You know, it's all evil.
But sometimes it sounds like cis automatically means you're against trans to me. That's where I have problems with it.
I understand that because I feel like when people choose to use cis is usually right before they say something horrible to that person.
Yeah. I mean, and that's fine.
It's true.
I'm fine with being categorized with them in that category because I know I have the out of being gay. So then, therefore, I'm not. But, you know, us cis gay white men are, like, not secondarily horrible people because white women, you're it. Cis white women, you're you're it. And your time is up. I'm tagging them in. Their time's up, too. All these women need to be run through. Just like any woman who puts up with a man and does what a man says, I got scissors, cut him.
Oh.
I'm done.
Okay.
And
I
so
got you.
any woman who's going to take but I'm a woman out with me ain't going to work anymore. And the only reason I say that is because of your incognito situation.
Right,
where people
right.
will say things to you, not knowing your race sometimes even.
Yep.
I feel white women are under the radar. And you know that Darla voted for Trump. She ain't talking bad about Trump. But you know her husband did.
Uh-huh.
So you know she did. And she's just riding it because she knows that it's all white, straight white, cis straight white men. It's all their time. So this cis straight woman, she's just riding it out.
Yeah. Like, see, and I don't like when people are under the radar and they use it for complacency or for evil. I love to use it as a bridge. And I had to learn that because in my 20s, I just got angry about everything. You know what I mean? Because that's what you do when you're young. But then when you get older, you realize you don't change people that way. The way you change people or try to get people to be willing to think more and explore is you hit them with that bridge, that gentle bridge that you can walk over instead of a cement wall. And you say, oh, well, you know, I understand where you're coming from. How dash ever, insert logical reason why you should get right over yourself here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why are eyes squinting when I say that?
Well, my eyes are squinting because I understand your love can build a bridge situation. I've heard the song. I'm familiar. I've seen Pollyanna and the black version Polly.
Yes.
And that's the whole point of that movie is building that bridge between white people and black people.
I love that you know that movie.
Keisha Knight Pulliam. Because
Nobody
they say
knows
the most horrible
Polly.
things in that movie.
They do.
It's a Disney movie, and they call her a pickaninny. And then that's...
I mean, listen, it's
and then
horrible.
that's the whole thing is when she's like, she is nobody's pickaninny. And that, you know, Felicia Rashad,
Yes.
for those that are in the know, Felicia Rashad has to have a tell 'em off moment in everything she does, or she doesn't take the money. She don't take the money. She don't take the coin. I ain't taking this job. I don't get to tell nobody off. No. I don't get to let somebody know about their life. I'm not going to happen. I mean, do you ever watch Cosby Show? She talked to her kids like they were dumb.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
She would just tell them like they were dumb. Not that she was trying to be nice to them. Anyway, that's your bridge. That's your bridge. That's your bridge.
Come back.
My bridge is, I got to go tell 5 people. Did you know what this bitch just said? Because I need 5 people to understand that that person's horrible. And I feel that once no one will sit with you at lunch because you're horrible, you'll learn your lesson.
That's the way you change people. That is real wonderful.
Yeah, corporal punishment. Beat them.
Wow. Okay, then. I'm glad that, good. So, back
It's
to the
so
original topic, which is demonizing.
Demonizing. Yeah, so it's like we talked about last week with the happiness ball. So somebody has to be demonized in order. I mean, it's the same. I'm not going to say it's religion, Joy, but it's religion. You have to have that evil,
Yeah.
or you have to have that Thanos, because if you don't, then what is anybody going to do? Everybody's just standing around with superpowers doing nothing but hanging out.
Well, it's like, why can't
Getting
we?
new haircuts and shit.
It's my thing is, what if we just decided to do right in each area or each topic that comes up, as opposed just because it's the right thing to do, as opposed to because we're overcoming this evil force. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Just do the right thing.
Right. But you feel that, I know that you feel that that's like just too Pollyanna, if I will.
Oh, now you've jumped over to Spike Lee territory, right?
I did.
Which I do love Do the Right Thing movie, and it's very poignant for the time. I mean, it's still completely relevant to any time. But, yeah, it's that point where you can either do more evil, like go around and tell everybody what this bitch just said, or you could do the right thing and say, look, Susan, just say they or them.
Right.
If it's that complicated for you, just say they or them.
Specifically on that topic, I have 2 more things that I want to say about it, which one is, I understand that it's not inherently easy for somebody who's, decades old and you've been used to identifying somebody on sight.
It's not easy for an American.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
True. Not easy for an American. But I think that the people it affects understand that if you're genuinely trying and you make a mistake and you're just apologetic, you know what I mean, and try to learn from it, it's not a huge deal. It really isn't. The second thing I would say is, this isn't going away. You know what I mean? As people really kind of spread their wings and, decide that they can be whoever they want to be, like, this isn't going away. And I even said to the person, I was like, I would not be surprised if in the next 4 to 5 years, this is just standard practice. This is what we do here. And it's taught to employees and it's part of it. Like, I'm just going to assume that that's what's going to be the case.
Well, no, it's going to be the case because we've like in my area, it's a topic all the time. Like, you have to make it so that someone can apply without a gender, because you have to. I mean, it's not forced. And that's the thing. It's not forced upon you because it's a bad thing. That's, I think, people's mentality that they can't get away from. They're like, I'm being punished because I know my pronouns.
Right.
I learned my grammar. Personally, I've been fucking up grammar forever. Don't care. But I understand where people come from because it's hard to change. It's hard to be enlightened. I hate the term woke, but it's hard to be woke.
Yeah.
Because
you have to change what you've been doing.
Right.
And I don't want to. It's too much work.
It's too much work. Yeah, like, I want to be lazy with it. But I think about it all the time. Like, I think I got more with specifically with the email system, with email, putting your pronouns on an email. I thought about it. I was like, oh, this person's name is George, and George doesn't need to put the pronouns on there, right? But then I've seen people's emails that have Cameron. Cameron is not a gender-specific name, whereas, Edith is not a gender-specific name if you get down to it. Lots of names aren't, so therefore they put their pronouns on there, and that makes sense to me. Yeah. So I think it just took a point of making sense to me, to make sense to me.
To be able to roll it out to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, because my personal thing is I would rather call people by their names than a pronoun. And it does get a little over, like if I said Joy over here, Joy is going to, Joy, I mean, it sounds, it's a little harsh, but realistically, that's where we were before. Like, pronouns were not where it began.
And I was gonna say, like, the other thing about it is, if you really think about it, if you met me, and I was like, my name is Joy, and my pronouns are they, them, theirs. In reality, most of the time when you're talking to me, now written word is gonna be different, probably.
Right.
But when you're talking to me, most of the time you're gonna say you.
Yeah.
You are gonna say Joy to get my attention. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna end up having to use my pronouns most of the time. And I think people just, the idea of, I might have to do something, like, it's almost like people feel like there's a pop quiz. You know what I mean? Like, I have this new piece of information. Let me check every sentence to make sure I don't want to fuck up the quiz. I want to make sure that I get, you know what I mean? Like, and that's why people freak and feel like, nope, fuck it, I ain't doing it.
Well, it's that third person scenario. So when I'm introducing you to somebody, I'll say Joy at the beginning. And then anything I say about Joy, you'll typically say she or her. So, I mean, that's typical, right? So when you're one-on-one with somebody, it's easier to be more cognizant of the actual pronouns. But whenever you're talking with somebody, if that person's not even there, sometimes it's not. And I've had the discussion recently about the them and their situation, because the person was just like, I can't get past, they're like pro-trans, on board with all that involved, very LGBTQ friendly. I'm not even going to say their name, but still, this person was not a person being ignorant. It was a person who was asking because they wanted to be correct. And so they wanted to know. And they were like, it's just so weird to me to say them and theirs as a singular person. But there's that lesson, right? It's always been allowed.
Yeah.
Because I have always said they more, I think, mentally. I mean, I'm looking back, I said they for men or women, singular, a lot. And I believe that that's okay.
It is, and I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like it's not an unwritten rule. It's a written rule that you can. Like here's he, she, him, blah, 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 you, we, blah, blah, blah. But here's they and them.
Yeah.
That can go to everything. And so I understand that. And I understand that some pronouns are brand new to the masses. And that can take a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So I say stay in the safe water, away from all the sharks, all the stingrays.
Okay.
Just say they and them. As a rule, just stop.
Just stop using anything else.
And say they and them. Because chances are, unless they use pronouns that are not straightforward in American grammar, they're not going to correct you on that. People call me they and them all the time. My friends who are trans, who use they or them, use they or them for everybody.
Oh, okay.
And at first I'm like, wait, are they thinking I'm transgendered? No, they're just using it because it's easier. It's a more American to just take a couple words and just blanket it.
Yes. That is so American.
Yeah, make a flag out of it, motherfucker. Wear it on 4th of July. Make a flag that says they and them and just wear it on 4th of July, which is actually against the law. But Old Navy don't care.
No, they don't.
You got anything else, Joy?
I don't. I feel complete now. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad we've completed your journey. So the lesson learned today is something has to be evil always.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, you say tomato, I say pasta.
I'm done.
All right. Good night, kids.
And remember that to be beautiful and natural is the birthright of every woman. And I wish you all loads and loads of loveliness and good luck.